Make it good. Hey, everybody. It's sPidA here, the Fight Card Podcast, of course, coming to you once again here in San Antonio, Texas, with my guest, of course, local to San Antonio, Daniel. Man, I was going to call you Danny, bro. I should have asked you earlier, but do you get offended when people call you Danny, bro?
No.
You see, the reason I asked, man, of course, I've seen you and your brother grow up as kids, through the sport and jiu-jitsu, and of course, for us, it was always Danny. Out of respect, I might slip up, so don't hate me if I do. But bro, it's been a while, man. Like I mentioned, we're both in San Antonio. Seems like different countries, bro, different planets, because I haven't seen you in a while, man.
For sure, yeah, dude. It's been probably, I think, almost 8 to 10 years, right?
Yeah, bro. The last time I think I saw you was when you were still competing in jiu-jitsu. So I know you got into wrestling into high school and just pursued that, man. But like I said, dude, I got a lot of questions, bro. I'm gonna ask a few only because, of course, the main one is gonna be this fight coming up. But growing up as a kid, man, of course, you did compete through regional. You went competed tournaments here in San Antonio and outside the city. But one of the things you did, man, was actually competing in an MMA smoker as a kid, bro. So I gotta ask you. You had fought a grown man, and you won. Of course, you got news coverage for that, man. But looking back at that now, are you thinking like, man, what was my parents thinking, man?
Yeah, man. So like I tell them now, like, I'm thankful for them getting me into this sport, man. I know that they were like really nervous back then, but it was just all experience for me. And especially like back then, there wasn't many like opportunities like for like nowadays. You can see a lot of teens and kids, MMA smokers, and now even there's a lot of kickboxing shows going down. So I wish at that time I had a lot of opportunities for that. MMA smokers were just kind of like, just opportunities when gyms hosted it or whatnot. I know they were going at it with that, and then they stopped all of a sudden with this MMA smokers. I guess school, schools broke apart or whatnot. So the smokers were kind of just in and out. But yeah, man. I remember that I did about like three MMA smokers, and I had my MMA amateur fight like in January, and I felt really good, first round finish, and I'm looking for a second finish as well next week.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I asked that out of respect, man. I know your mom, your dad, they were always huge fans of you guys, always supporting you guys through everything y'all have done, even now, I'm sure. But one of the things, bro, of course, I told you earlier, my dog's in the house. He's out there happy that you're on here also, man. So you hear him barking. But you were outside earlier running, man. So, how hot is it, bro? Because I went out there to go get the dogs and put them back in. And, it's freaking hot, bro.
Yeah, man, it's hot. Like, so I've been pretty – so this camp has been pretty tough with me. I still been in the gym, but I work a lot now. Just trying to maintain, just my work-life balance. So I'll probably work from like 8 to 8 or 8 to 5 some days, and then I'll have to train right after. So that I feel like I'm on the go 24/7. It's not the same like as when I was a kid, get to train, anytime and have no worries. But hopefully, these sacrifices is going to count, and hopefully I could make it to the big show where I could, leave my 8 to 5 job. So that's the plan.
Well, now you got to do the adult thing, right? Now you got to go to work and then play.
Oh,
yeah. Man. Mm-hmm. But of course, bro. It's been years, man. You stayed busy. You did wrestle in high school, man. You competed in wrestling. Was that one of the things that you kind of wanted to improve in yourself as far as your grappling?
Yeah, dude. Like, wrestling was always like a big thing for me. Like, I think I was more of a fan of wrestling than jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I love it all the same, but I just, for MMA, I just felt like wrestling was just so cool. And especially, while being in school, who's not going to love mat time, take advantage of, your 8 hours at school, and, why not? And especially, if you're like a big MMA fan and you have a goal, like, why not? So, yeah, I feel like it's helped. It came a long way. And I was very, very glad that I wrestled in high school.
No, man. And of course, one of the things, of course, man, like you mentioned, because when you guys were growing up, there wasn't a lot of smokers. Kids weren't competing like the way they are now. It seemed like you guys were ahead of your time, yourself. Mark Lozano was one of them, of course. I still talk to the guy on and off. And, it's been surreal, man, because, of course, it's been years. It seemed like just yesterday. But, you guys were competing at the Woodlawn Gym, on mats and, going out there competing, bro. But it's been a great ride, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been covering the sport for years, man. Before you guys came along, I mean, I was out there training and teaching myself. But I mean, you yourself, bro. I mean, you've been training with a lot of great people throughout the years. Right now you're training with Pete Brad, of course. You got some UFC veterans out there. You've got a UFC fighter in CJ Vergara who you're training with the other day. And I gotta ask you, bro. I mean, sparring with CJ, can you kind of see the different level, man? Like, I mean, are you like, damn, okay, you know what? Like, this is where I got to be.
Absolutely, man. I feel like for me, I'm really grateful and I'm blessed to be a part of with Pete and CJ. Having CJ as a 125er as a partner, that's a top UFC prospect right there. And I can't say many people in San Antonio have a 125er like that. That's top notch, and that's in I don't know no other UFC fighter or in San Antonio, specifically right. that's a 25 or so. For me, having CJ trying to keep up with this level and his pace is definitely helping me a long way. The way I see it is, if I could survive 5 rounds with CJ, then I could definitely survive with any other amateur.
No. I mean, of course, man. And this fight, like you said, it's going to be your second one in the sanctioned fight, of course, because this is your second fight as an amateur, right?
Yes.
Now, I mean, of course, your first fight, man, I mean, you had competed before. You've been on the map plenty of times in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Did you get nervous before that fight?
Actually, no, man. I mean, I felt like maybe when I first kind of went into it, the nerves still a little bit kicked in. But, when I was hitting pads and I just kind of my body got warmed up and I felt like the adrenaline rush coming in. I felt good, man. I feel like, I put in work throughout the years. And I mean, I just feel like I've been ahead of it, compared to other amateurs. So I was like, man, I mean, I can't see it going wrong. I think at this point, it's all muscle memory. Like each movement is not something I'm like, oh man, I have to remember how to shrimp. My body just kind of naturally does it. So I don't feel too bad. This is something that I've all I known, and the only sport I've known since a kid.
No, of course, man. And because, of course, I mean, you started off with jiu-jitsu and grappling, bro. I mean, working on guard off your back, getting into wrestling. I mean, as an amateur, fighter right now, are you more like, hey, I want to dominate, I want to be the top fighter, or are you comfortable pulling guard and just kind of, hey, you know what, I'll sweep the guy, get his back, or
no, yeah, I definitely I've been working my striking a lot too. I feel like improvements there. But my grappling, I feel like that's my strongest base. Just having a wrestling and jiu-jitsu combined is just I feel like that's where I feel dangerous, compared for the guys to compete against me in the amateur level. It's just my grappling portion is pretty sick.
No, definitely, man. I mean, I agree, bro. I mean, even as a kid, I mean, you have that mentality where it's you know what, I mean, you feel indestructible. You're like, oh, I can do anything. And it kind of helps because, you know the technique, the muscle memory kicks in. And of course, your body tells you which way to go, man. But I mean, of course, the second fight, man, it's going to be here in San Antonio, like I posted. It's going to be on Sunday, July 16th. The last fight you had, was it on Sunday or Friday?
Sunday. I wish on was all Fridays. I remember whenever, back then as a kid, I used to go to the fights on Friday nights, Saturday nights. And I thought those were cool. Sunday mornings is man, you just got to wake up and go to war. Yeah. But I mean, it's all good though.
No, you see, and that's one of the reasons I like asking the fighters, because a lot of them don't mind, and some are like, man, Sundays are usually my rest days, so they kind of have to train on Sunday just to get that body used to it, because you don't want to be at the arena and your body starts shutting down, right? You're gonna be like, damn, ready to get out there and compete. But of course, it's gonna be here at the Boeing Tech Center, bro. Like I said, it's right down the street from me off the old Highway 90, should I say? I'm sorry, but I mean, it's a great venue. The last time you fought at Cowboys, right?
Cowboys, yeah.
Okay, on this one, of course. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you've been there though, right, for the fights?
No, I haven't never been there yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a clean venue, man. And I say clean, I mean, pretty much everything's upgraded. I mean, of course, Cowboys always loved that old backyard type feel, because it felt like you were outdoors, fighting out there in the arena, right? But sure. This one, I mean, there's no bad seats, man. I mean, of course, the cheaper ones are going to be way up top, of course, but other than that, it's a great place. I mean, I think I heard one of the fighters was saying the back, you kind of have to there's not a lot of room for you guys to move in. So it's kind of like, hey, you know what, get warmed up when you can, or give other people space, But I mean, your coaches are going to be there to help you, maintain and stay focused, man. But, for this fight, man, who's going to be cornering your fight?
It'll be Coach Pete Spratt, and then we have a other coach. His name's Coach Ray. Coach Ray, he's a phenomenal MMA coach, man. His grappling skills and the way he combines from the striking to the grappling, it's just awesome. I never knew who he was. I knew he was a black belt. I used to see him. He's a strength and conditioning coach at I believe it's called Anytime Fitness. So I used to see him train like Coabate and a lot of the Rodrigo Pinheiro athletes. So I never knew who he was. Then when I started doing my MMA class, I'm like, man, this guy really knows like his shit with MMA. So really nice guy. So it'll probably be them two in my corner.
Oh, cool, man. And of course, you're going to have other teammates out there, man. So how many of you guys are going to be fighting that night?
It'll be me. It'll be myself. We have Olivia Burley. She's fighting for the championship belt at, I believe, 135, man. She's someone to look out for. I'm not gonna lie, I probably see her going to the contender series soon. I believe she's gonna turn pro. We have a Smoke. He's a heavyweight guy that's gonna be competing too. But yeah, man, I feel like there's a lot of upcoming athletes from Rodrigo Pinheiro school. Like we have a lot of legit jiu-jitsu guys transitioning to MMA. So it's gonna be pretty sick to see.
No, yeah, and of course you get to use them as sparring partners, and them use you as well, right? So it's gonna get interesting, man, in the gym.
For sure,
man. And of course, I mean, I haven't been out there in years, bro. I mean, when it comes to Pete, visiting the guys out there at the old, one of the locations, of course, because they're opening up a new one as well. But I see them doing well. Rodrigo, of course, he's out there, man. The guy's always been a great guy. I miss stopping by there, bro. So I'll definitely have to see, hit them up and stop by there one day, man. But this fight, like I mentioned, bro, it is going to be local. Your opponent's not from San Antonio, man. So are you kind of nervous or anxious? I mean, is it going to be like, hey, my friends' families are going to be there? Like, are you going to be anxious about that or nervous, bro?
Man, I'm honestly pretty hyped up, man. To be honest with you, I feel like it's my house, to my home city. I feel like everyone in San Antonio pretty much knows who I am. They know me since a kid. Probably even if I never train at their schools, they pretty much know who I am. So just having the whole crowd there for myself is, I feel like that's pretty much a home court advantage for myself.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, there's going to be a lot of locals there fighting, fighters from outside the city, outside the state. It's going to be a great card, man. I mean, for those that are looking to go and they don't have they're not going to see a certain fighter. I mean, of course, they can pick a ticket from you guys, right? I mean, for you personally, like get online and pick you as a fighter.
Yes, and I know tickets are running pretty fast, so.
Yeah. No. I mean, I know the last time I think it was when the UFC was here, man. So it was a great night. I think that night they were actually fighting on Friday, which was awkward, because I was like, man, on Friday. But they had to fight Friday, and of course the UFC Saturday night. So it was a great weekend, man. It was a lot of buzz. I felt like a kid running around, man. But it was a lot of people to see, and I always have fun at these. Of course, I get to cover some of these events, bro, as I have been for the past years. But I mean, yourself, man. I mean, I've been a fan of you guys, bro, and just watching y'all grow up. I mean, like I said, I mean, I got to know your mom. I've met your dad. Like I said, they've always been there at the mat site, supporting you guys, and I mean. How do you feel now fighting, knowing like, man, you know what? I mean, you've been doing this years, bro, like what, 8+ years?
Oh man, probably started around when I was 8 years old.
Oh,
25 now. So yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like, man, I'm way overdue, to be honest. I felt like I could have fought a little bit while back. A lot of people were expecting me to fight at 17 years old. So I feel like it's about that time, man. I didn't want to wait till I was 30. I feel like I'm 25 now. I'm like, man, I'm already at that midpoint where I expect myself to be on bigger shows at the age of like 20, 27, 28. So definitely before 30. I definitely don't want to keep getting older and older.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, the lifespan depends, I mean, just Clay Guida is still out there, man. I mean, he's still fighting. The guy's been at it for years. I think it was this past weekend where they had the UFC Hall of Fames. I mean, of course, Cowboy, Cerrone, he ended up, he retired. He was in the UFC Hall of Fame. Jose Aldo, of course, another one. So it's, as long as you're healthy and you can still keep doing it. I mean, is that your mentality? Are you like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep fighting till I can't fight no more?
My plan is I definitely want to try to make it to the UFC, man. I'm putting my mindset into that. I feel like I have the potential to do it. Um, Especially now with like Fury being a part of like UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah.
Just the walk, like I mean, if you perform good and get the finishes, it's a faster path to go into the UFC Contender Series. A lot of the Fury guys, been going through there. Like I kind of reflected from like back then. It probably was a little bit harder for the guys who fought at Cowboys because there was like really no promotion like Fury. It was just kind of like just a not a cheaper promotion, but it
No,
was just
but
kind of really
it was,
basic, really
yeah.
basic.
Yeah, and of course, social media has blown up since then too, man. So it helps, because I mean, the UFC Fight Pass. I mean, I'm a subscriber, man. I've got the app, and I mean, I love it because every week there's a fight, all over the country, bro, all over the world. I mean, in Africa and Abu Dhabi, it's crazy, man. But it's one of those things, if you're not a subscriber, definitely go check it out. And that's another thing too, because I mean, of course, you guys are going to be the amateur fights, so you're not going to be on the UFC Fight Pass portion, but you're going to be on the UFC Fight Pass Facebook page live, right, or something like
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
You see, so of course, even that, bro. I mean, that gets a lot of hits. So I mean, the world's still going to be watching. Like you said, I mean, for the fighters that do go in there and perform and actually get the finish, that's kind of what Dana White and everybody looks for. They want that finisher. They don't want that wrestler that's just going to take you down and hold you there. And they want active fighters. They want an active fight. So I mean, knowing that, I mean, are you kind of like, okay, you know what you need to do, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking for like another submission. On this next fight. My opponent, he's more of a striker. I don't think he has like the level of grappling that I have. I feel like pretty confident on my striking, like to get to my takedown. So I'm looking for like another sub finish.
No, and of course, I mean the game plan. I mean, I'm sure you guys are working on that. I mean, yourself, like you said. I mean, if you get them down, of course, you're going to go for the submission. If you feel like you tag them and you can finish it on the feet, of course, you're going to do that, right? I mean, it just depends on what. But
Right.
I mean, when it comes to the game plan, I mean, how. I mean, and I've seen Pete teach, over the years, man. I've seen him at seminars, and of course, the guy knows what he's doing, obviously, man. So I mean, training with him now, is it kind of like, did it change your fight game a little bit, or are you kind of like, okay, you know what, like, do you see a lot of holes or a lot of openings that you didn't see before?
Right. Yeah, like I like his style, man. He could like have like 1 second he could fight like a boxing style, 1 second he could fight like a kickboxing style, 1 second he could fight like kind of like a karate Muay Thai. So that's
Yeah,
why he calls
bro.
it hybrid like fight systems because he pretty much knows how to like mix it all, and I really like that about him. Just it's like if you're cooking, right? You just throw a bunch of ingredients and make something great out of it, and that's how I'm feeling. Like I never really. I think at one practice he made me like fight southpaw, and that's CJ fights from both stance, and it's pretty difficult to fight a guy that fights from both. So I like the way he teaches and trains fighters.
No, for sure, man. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, he's not just a UFC veteran. The guy's fought all over the world. I mean, of course, here in the regional circuit, I think the first time I saw him fight was his third fight, years back, bro. And this was the Renegades in Houston, man. So it was a while back, but the guy definitely made a name for himself, and the fact that we have him here in San Antonio, man, it's great, bro.
For sure. Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. Like, being part of Rodrigo Pinero's school, it's been great. Like, having a guy like Pete, like a UFC vet, having a current UFC prospect, CJ, Rodrigo, tons of experience in jiu-jitsu, and then like the athletes, that I feel really great training with the jiu-jitsu athlete. There's a lot of guys that like are my age that are just like active competitors. So it's pretty good training there, man. So I feel blessed.
No, and I'm sure, man, and I'm pretty sure that works both ways, bro. Because I'm sure you get in there, they're kind of like, man, we got another body, like, hey, it's kind of hard to find people your weight and with your not, and that's not even so much your weight, but I mean, there's different levels to this, man. I mean, a lot of guys just want to train, they don't want to fight, they don't want to compete, which is great. A lot of people do it for fitness, and that's great, man. But it's just finding a team that where you have bodies that are like, hey, they're gonna push you as much as you push them, and it kind of helps out, man.
For sure.
Bro. And of course, man, I mean, you had talked about a lot of people expecting you to fight, once you turned 17 or 18, and and you decided to wait, man. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that, bro?
Yeah, of course. So at that time, man, I think I was still in high school. Because I believe you could start fighting MMA amateur at the age of 17.
Right.
So around that time, I was wrestling. I was prepping up for a state tournament. I think I had a fight under Fury still. I guess when they were kind of like first starting. You know, and I was very fortunate and lucky to have a wrestling coach that was like basically my mentor, man. Ben Lenny. He was a great mentor for me. I would always ask him for advice when it comes to like MMA or even just anything in life in general. So he advised me. He was like, "Hey, man, like if you really want to be great in wrestling and just take it on another level, I suggest if you just wrestle like club wrestle, and I mean, because I still had another year to wrestle, so the state level was hard, man. I mean, of course, I was beating guys districts, regionals, but state level, I was wrestling kids that wrestled at the age of 4. So it was tough, and I wanted to have that under my belt, that to win a state championship and stuff like that. So those were things that he was advising me to do, and then in jiu-jitsu too, kind of not take your time, but like try to dissect a little bit more into that, and same thing as the striking. So I took it as advice for it, and 17 to 25, and I'm here now, and I felt like at a point I'm like, okay, I got to jump in now. Like I can't wait till another 5 years to do it. So
no, you see, one of the things I like about that, man, and it's just like I tell people, because a lot of fighters, I mean, like Jamal, CJ, Ray, I mean, I can name a bunch of them from here in San Antonio, man. A lot of them, it took them about 8-10 years to get into the big show, sort of when it comes to the fight game. And injuries, man, getting bumps and bruises, of course. I mean, a lot of people took a toll, and by the time they get there, a lot of them kind of like, man, you know what, they start feeling that. Being that you kind of stayed fresh, and you're like, hey, you know what, you waited this long. I kind of like that, because I'm sure wrestling you took a beating in wrestling, bro. But when it comes to the fight game, you're kind of fresh, right? I mean,
right,
like,
yeah, and I feel the same way. And I spoke with Mark Lozano too.
Yeah.
Everybody expected him, I guess, us to fight, because I guess we were kind of the up and coming MMA kids, San Antonio kids.
Oh yeah, bro.
And he was telling me he was taking his time too. Like he was kind of taking a couple of kickboxing fights before he was going to go into like MMA full time.
Yeah. No, yeah, bro, and that makes sense, man. I mean, that's like, I mean, the one thing we all want is for you guys to be healthy. Go in the fight and get out as no injury, injury free and everything else, man. Because of course, I mean, a lot of us have to go work the next day, or the day after, and it's like, man, the last thing you want to do is get injured, But like we said, man, this fight is going to be on Sunday here, July 16th, Fury UFC 81. And for those that are watching, I mean, of course, they can still get tickets through you. As far as they can get tickets on hand, or everything has to be online right now.
So tomorrow's the last day to get, tomorrow's the last day to get it from me from hand. But they will be selling on the website. If you do, just select the fighter. So I could get credit for that.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, I know you guys are always out there getting sponsors, man. I mean, when it comes to sponsors, bro, do you have any sponsors helping you, or if somebody's interested in sponsoring you, man, how can they reach you, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm still looking for a little bit more sponsors right now. I have Fine Line Barbershop. Real cool with the guy, man. So them, and then my friend, his name's Kobe. It's called Kobe Productions. He shot up a video for me. So I'm definitely looking for more. I think I just have to kind of keep fighting a little bit more, kind of get like another 2 fights under my belt to kind of show what I have.
No, and of course, I mean, for those that already know you, man, because I mean, we know what you've done, what you've accomplished. I mean, the fact that this is your second fight, that's just one thing, because of course, those that know you've been doing this for years, man, and it's something that you want to do and pursue. And for everybody to go jump on and invest in you right now, of course, they can call you and talk numbers. They can hit you up and see, you can give them as far as like, what your rates are and what you can, give in return, man. But yeah, everybody out there, if you're watching, man, definitely, support these guys, man, because it's, you gotta take time away from work, you gotta take time away from life, you gotta be out there training, man. So I know it takes money to do everything, man. So if anybody's hearing, anybody's watching, man, definitely sponsor this young man, bro, for sure.
Thank you.
And bro, and of course, man, I mean, I do want to wish you the best, man. I know we tried doing this a couple of times, timing, it's always off, bro. I mean, you are working a lot, like you said. For me, you know, I'm all over the place, man. But I'm glad we got this done, man. And of course, you know, let's not take another 8, 9 years before we talk again, man. We'll definitely jump on this, you know, after this fight and see what's next. But I will be there. If not cage side, I'll be there, you know, on the stands, man, watching, man, supporting everybody. And I wish you the best that night, bro. And anything you want to say before we wrap this up, bro?
Thank you, brother. No, I just appreciate you doing this podcast. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, man, I need an interview with sPidA, you know, because I mean, I couldn't get it at the time. There's so many things I wanted, like, you know, when I was a kid. So now I'm at that point, I'm like, man, it feels sometimes it feels unreal. So I appreciate you. I appreciate my sponsor, Fine Line Barbershop, man. My team at Rodrigo Pinero, coaches there. But yeah, guys, if you're interested in coming out and support. I feel like San Antonio is growing in this MMA sport. I mean, PFL's coming down pretty soon. It's another MMA promotion. They got a lot of boxing fights coming down in San Antonio. So I love to see the city, the sport growing in the city. So.
No, for sure, man. You see, PFL is one of the companies I talked to you about coming through, man. I know Combate Global stopped traveling, but they were supposed to come through as well. So I'm still at it, man. I'm still talking to all these, you know, matchmakers and, you know, people behind the scenes, because those are the ones that make things happen. And, you know, if I can get more, I mean, I'm not saying I brought PFL out here, man, but I know I kept bringing it up because I talked to the matchmaker, I talked to the guys out there, and, you know, I mean, San Antonio's growing, man. I mean, being that we're center, and, you know, we got South Texas, we've got, you know, Houston, Austin, everybody can come down here, and, you know,
man, even the UFC came down to San Antonio recently. So it's just, I feel like it's just I don't know. I feel like it's becoming more attractive. People are just looking at San Antonio as another spot.
No, it has, bro. And of course, you know, because of promotions like Fury, man, I mean, they brought a lot of eyes to them, and because they're here, they're in Corpus, they're in Houston, you know, people are definitely watching, and, you know, thank them as well, because, you know, Eric, you know, no matter what people might say or do, man, I mean, being a promoter, I wouldn't want to do that. I know it's stressful, man. And, you know, I mean, I give him props for being able to do that and do it every time, man. So for sure, you know. But bro, one thing I wanted to say also, man, was for the, you know, right now in San Antonio, we have a lot of MMA gyms, jiu-jitsu gyms. You know, for the gyms that are out there watching, man, if you don't have anybody fighting, you know, you guys should still come out here and support, man, because if we don't support the sport, then nobody else will, you know. So definitely, you know what, go up, show up, and you know, if you're gonna root for one or not, you know, just go out there and enjoy the fights, man. But definitely, man, I want to tell everybody to go out there and support the sport, man, because this is all we got, man. So definitely show up, you know.
For sure, I agree.
Nah, brother. Well, man, of course, Danny, one more time, bro. I do thank you, bro, for jumping on this, bro. I wish you the best. Don't hang up yet, of course. Everybody out there, once again, this is sPidA, the Fight Card Podcast. Till next time, follow up.